when something dies, it isn't the end of it, because it goes on living with memory.
In our memory, yeah.
My earliest memory is of being in the pram with a cover to keep the rain off, and dipping my finger into the water and chocolate.
With my parents at the airport when I was a kid. I think I was about 4 years old.
I can remember there being a carry cot in our back parlour, and looking over the top of it. I was only about 2, but looking over the top of it at this sort of squealing little red person. That was my sister Angela.
Starting primary school for the first time, I was 5, and it was just really strange, but it was new, and I met my very first friend who I'm still friendly with.
Scratching at the size of the womb, I think.
I remember I had a little pet gerbil that died because he lost all his hair and he went grey and died, and I found it in its cage. That was a very traumatic experience for me.
I remember the smell of grass when I was a very young child. Yeah, that is a memory that will take me back. I think the smell of hospitals. My mother was a nurse. I remember going to. Those would be the main one from way back. The smell of turf burning in Ireland.
I have a synesthesis.
Oh, yeah.
It means when I speak, I taste things.
Wow, really?
But I cannot think of anything. Okay, then I speak about my friend. Her name is Sema, and whenever I say Sema, it reminds me of a type of helva with pistachio, and I can taste it. Yeah.
The smell of baking bread always takes me back to my grandma's kitchen, being a tiny child.
My earliest memory is standing on a balcony in Sweden, where I'm from, and talking to some children down below on the street and asking them if they would like to come up and play with me on the balcony. They didn't.
I'm renovating a 7-foot-long fairground horse, and I'm trying to make it an artistic process when essentially it's a practical one. I think that the documentation aspect of the renovation is key for me, and I see the renovation as almost a sort of resurrection, which is why I'm thinking about Stanley Spencer's Cook and Resurrection, 1924 to 1927. I think this in turn links to Marcel Proust's The Remembrance of Things Past, the idea that memories are buried until something happens to bring them back to life.
My work is about representing in images the ongoing process through which our experiences, memories, and spatial and temporal context generate our individual identity and behavior. I take found or my own images from the everyday life and translate them into drawing or painting, mixing undefined abstract representation with realism, ending with images in construction with different finishing levels.
I'm studying Johnny Briggs at the moment. I love how family-orientated his work is, and how because of this there's just an instantly really nostalgic feeling to his pieces. He uses ready-made objects and they just already seem to carry such a weight of emotion inside of them. Another reason I love his work is because they often seem so disjointed in their nature. Like they remind me of memory itself, I guess, you know, blurry, full of imagination, kind of seeming unreal, or like a dream, kind of something we remember, but we're not sure if it's true or if it's just purely imagination.
So my practice is based around line and space. I often work from a collection of images and just create drawings from them, sometimes from memory, sometimes while I'm looking at the photograph. I would say process is very much a big part of my work.
In my work, I'm exploring how the deeply personal experience is at times quite unavoidably linked to the political, and the subsequent clash that arises between the private and the collective memory of such events. My photos here are of the informal memorial set up for drummer Lee Rigby at Woolwich Barracks, showing tributes from family, friends, workmates and the general public. This work has left a deep impression on me. It's a piece by Hannah Malaha, an Iraqi artist who now lives in London. It's called My Night, the 16th to the 17th of January 1991, and was made as a response to her experience of being in Baghdad at the start of the First Gulf War, when over 230 bombs were dropped on the city that night.
My practice documents modern travel in photographs, which I film bearing in mind the human time experience through memory. The back and forth movement of the film relates to the memory and the different results through repetition. The skate filming devices deals with playful childhood gestures.
My practice is an exploration of cultural borders through control and processes, and is heavily laden with personal significance, similar to the work of Chris O'Feely. My work is drawn from memory with sentimental value and somewhat honouring tradition through nostalgia.
In terms of new technology within my work, I use like Photoshop to turn the images to negative, and then I use these as direct references to my paintings. And I suppose I associate the negative with nostalgia. Like when I see a negative, it links back to a time that is now past. So yeah, the idea behind the negative painting is to create an image in which the subject matter comments on nostalgic memory, but also the negative style I'm trying to imitate is commenting on nostalgia itself. By using new methods and technologies in order to replicate old ones, the painting suggests a rapid rise in the digital age and how old technologies and process is being left behind and forgotten.
Memories are not only documentation. It's not only about things that have been happened. They have emotion, and they produce within imagination. They only belongs to an individual person. Memories that happen on human beings. They are recorded by brains. The things that have been recorded were the feelings that were felt at that moment. Madness is the expansion of imagination. We produce them and we are willing to be their slaves. It resembles religion. We are devout disciples. We believe the power of imagination and we defend it. Madness is more approach to unconscious. There are pure mental events. Unconscious blooms within imagination. Memories passed away stealthily. Memories are the most important resource to my imagination. They are about sounds, textures, and emotion.
Happy birthday ki apne